Today on The Hookup, we're going to take a look at the part of CES that usually doesn't get much coverage, the Sands Convention Center Hall D. And I'm going to show you my picks for the best new smart home technology for 2019. After 4 days of walking around expo halls from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I feel like I was finally able to see all there was to see at CES 2019. Sort of. CES is spread out along many different venues on the Las Vegas Strip, but it's generally divided into three main categories. At the Las Vegas Convention Center, huge companies like Samsung, LG, Sharp, and Sony compete to see who can build the largest, thinnest, highest resolution TV. In the Las Vegas Convention Center, the booths are an experience, and there is little to no interaction with the people that are in charge of the development of the products. Conversely, on the first floor of the Sands Expo Hall, tech startups are packed tightly into a huge basement-style space. The mood is chaotic, and the people in the booth are usually the owners and developers directly involved in the direction of the company. But most of them don't actually have any products on the market. Somewhere in the middle of those two is where I spent the vast majority of my time. On the second floor of the Sands Expo Hall, established companies display their smart product lines, and knowledgeable booth workers are able to answer technical questions or at least put you in touch with someone who can. In this video, I'm going to show you those smart home products from the Sands Expo Hall in an installment of The Hookup that I'm calling the good, the bad, and the exactly the same. Starting with the most basic smart home category here, smart switches and bulbs. Innovation in this category was pretty sparse, but there was some good stuff. Singled produced the first A19 form factor 100 watt replacement smart bulb. It was bright. Depending on your application, this bulb might produce a strange lighting pattern, since at the top of the bulb there has to be vented airflow so that it has sufficient cooling for the massive LED array and Wi-Fi radio. I did put my hands directly on the base of the bulb that had been on for more than a few hours, and I was surprised that it wasn't any hotter than any other LED bulb that I've dealt with. It's expected to be released at the end of Q1 2019, and pricing hasn't been finalized for it yet. A company called Aurora has succeeded in producing the first Wi-Fi switch that doesn't require a neutral wire. The one caveat for this switch is that there has to be at least 15 watts of load on the switch when it's switched on to be able to power the Wi-Fi module. Still, this is an impressive and exciting step forward for the huge number of consumers around the world who don't have neutral wires in their switch boxes. According to the engineers at the Aurora booth, the only reason we can't buy them right now is that they haven't finished the packaging due to a delay in getting their Apple HomeKit certification. Price hasn't been finalized, but unofficially it was around $30 US. The popular USB receptacle producer TopGreener has developed a Shelly-like relay device that's meant to be installed behind a switch panel to convert an existing dumb switch into a smart one. The smart relay does require both a hot and neutral, and it uses a Tuya module to provide the Wi-Fi control, and it can also do power monitoring for that circuit. It should be available for purchase around mid-February, but final pricing wasn't available, nor was information about UL certification, although it should be noted that the rest of the products at the TopGreener booth had UL listing. And now we need to talk about the bad stuff. Of all the lighting companies that I spoke with, exactly 0 of them expressed interest in allowing for local control of their bulbs. Some politely said maybe some point in the future, while others just laughed and basically said they had no plans of that ever happening. So that's a real disappointment for the open source community. And last, there's the exactly the same. Tuya absolutely dominated the market at CES 2019. Almost every brand was using Tuya to handle their Wi-Fi connectivity. And while some of them have custom-skinned apps that carry the brand name of their product like TopGreener, inside they all contain the exact same Tuya module. Speaking of Tuya, we learned some extremely interesting information from the head of North American marketing at Tuya, who spent over a half an hour talking to Dr. Ziz and I about the Tuya brand. I had previously thought that all Tuya products were basically the same, and then it didn't matter if I bought a ZemiSmart or a TopGreener or a Martin Jerry, because they were all just sending data to the Tuya cloud. As it turns out, that assumption was not correct. The Tuya cloud is handled locally in the country in which the device is located. That means in the US and Europe, they are processed using their respective Amazon Web Services clouds. And in China, Tuya resides on the Alibaba cloud. But according to the North American marketing director at Tuya, They merely act as an intermediary, and any data that's collected from the use of the product or the app is encrypted by the device and then sent directly to the manufacturer of that product. And it's never decrypted on the Tuya cloud. Tuya doesn't collect or store any data on its cloud and has no business model related to data collection. This doesn't mean that your data isn't being sold, it just means that it's the manufacturer of the product that's selling it and not Tuya. Alright, back to new products. The next category of smart home tech that dominated CES 2019 was security cameras. Some interesting new products were released by Ring that are the result of their acquisition of the Mr. Beams line of battery-powered LED spotlights and floodlights. All of these motion-based lights will be able to communicate with each other, so that if one is triggered, the rest of them should be able to light up. These motion events can also be used as a trigger to start recording on your Ring cameras, which is a pretty cool technology. Wyze is releasing a standalone NVR to use with their WyzeCam PTZ and 1080p cameras. Video will be stored directly on the NVR instead of the cloud. The NVR unit will likely come without a hard drive so that users can more easily configure the storage size that meets their needs and price point. Wyze is also working really hard to offer RTSP streaming directly from their devices, but they're having some issues since RTSP doesn't support the 10 FPS that the WyzeCam records at when it's in night mode. They said if it happens, it won't be until late Q1 or early Q2 of this year. Blue Sky Wireless also released an interesting camera that bridges the gap between battery cameras and cameras with hardwired power. The only real advantage of a battery-powered wireless camera like Blink is the ease of installation. Anyone can install a set of Blink cameras regardless of technical skill level, and I believe Blue Sky Wireless is trying to create that same sort of ease of installation for a non-battery powered camera by utilizing an existing light fixture to power the device. It also has power pass-through, so it still allows for the installation of a light bulb on that socket. And then there's the bad stuff. Wired cameras are dying. Companies like Zmodo, Reolink, and Zosi that made their name selling wired cameras have essentially stopped marketing wired cameras in favor of Wi-Fi cloud recording cameras. None of the cameras that were in these booths supported RTSP or OnVIF, and they couldn't be used with NVR software. A few companies like StarCam continue to produce PoE IP cameras, but only in the same designs and specs that have been out for years. So that's pretty disappointing. And last, there's the exactly the same. Every company had their own battery stick-up camera, their own video doorbell, and their own indoor Nest Cam style device. All for use only with their proprietary apps and cloud services. Most of them included some amount of cloud recording for free, but all of them had a premium subscription to increase the cloud storage capacity. There was also a significant number of cheap Ring and Nest Cam knockoffs, powered by, you guessed it, Tuya. These can make for really interesting products if Tuya cameras end up working in Home Assistant later on. This vendor that I spoke with estimated that their Ring-style camera was going to retail for only about $60 US. So that's pretty interesting. After cameras, the most common product was robotic vacuums. And again, not much innovation here in this category. But some good things did come out of CES. I spoke at length with the owner of Ecovacs, which is the maker of the popular D-Bot series, and I explained to him that many users would prefer to have local rather than cloud-based control of their vacuum. And he seemed totally receptive. He put me in touch with one of their head engineers in the software developing team, who noted that the cloud is really just used to bypass the need for port forwarding, and it's also used to store the floor plan files that's generated by their LiDAR-based robots. He mentioned that it would probably be trivial to add local control to these robotic vacuums, and said it could probably be made available with a special firmware download. Fingers crossed on that one. And then there's the bad stuff. These robotic vacuums don't really do anything new. Aside from the new Roomba i7, which is able to empty its dustbin automatically, no new innovations have been made. I shared some million-dollar ideas with the owner of Ecovacs, so hopefully next year we'll see some real innovation in the robotic vacuum category. Also, a few companies have decided to use upward-facing cameras to detect obstacles. I, for one, am pretty uncomfortable with my cloud-based robotic vacuum roaming around my house taking Peeping Tom-style video down from the ground level. I don't know about you. And then there's the completely the same portion. Every vendor offered three main types of robotic vacuums. At the low end of the price range, you'll find your dumb vacuums that bump into furniture and randomly clean your house. In the mid-range, they gain some sensors that increase their ability to avoid obstacles and stop them from ramming into your baseboards at full speed. And then at the high end, LiDAR technology allows for these cameras to map out rooms and determine the most efficient path for cleaning. And while the technology is the same for each brand, I'm interested to see exactly how well the Chinese brand knockoffs can perform compared to the bigger names like iRobot, Xiaomi, and Ecovacs. One company called King X Chip is going to be selling their top-of-the-line LiDAR model for only $299. That's nearly half the price of the closest competitor, which is the Xiaomi S51. And King X Chips says their product should be on Amazon by the end of Q1. That about covers the ordinary categories of smart home products this year at CES. But I'm going to take a minute to talk about the unique products that don't quite fit into any of the categories above. Starting with the good ones. Shelly has developed an affordable Wi-Fi energy clamp monitor that can either monitor your entire electrical service up to 100 amps or a single circuit. Personally, I'd love to know how much energy my pool is using per month, so I'll be putting one of these on my pool sub-panel rather than on my main service for my house. They're hoping to release by the end of Q1 2019, and like other Shelly products, it'll support local MQTT with the default firmware. We've seen some energy monitors before. The Sense is a really cool product that can identify your larger power-consuming devices individually using their electrical signatures. That feature won't be available on the Shelly Energy Monitor, but that can easily be forgiven when you realize that the Sense will set you back $299 and the Shelly Energy Monitor should be less than $35 US. In the very important but slightly less exciting elder care technology field, we saw some really great products. Pilo is an automated pill dispenser with facial recognition, voice calling, and intelligent programming. The Pilo ring can hold up to 30 days worth of pills, and they're planning to offer filled rings directly from the pharmacy to make the process even simpler. The Pilo will remind its users to take their pills on a schedule, and if the doses are missed, the Pilo has the ability to alert a family member or caretaker who can then initiate a voice call directly on the Pilo. Also in elder care, two companies have come out with similar fall detection systems using completely different technology. My Cherry Home is a startup company using computer vision and AI to detect unusual behavior in falls. Their product protects user privacy by replacing the video image with an animated stick figure generated by computer vision software. This means that Grandpa will look exactly the same on camera in his three-piece suit or his birthday suit. The product is still undergoing heavy design changes, and they're looking to handle the computer vision processing directly on the device rather than their current solution, which uses a more powerful base station computer to analyze the video from the individual devices. Wallabot Home can also detect falls and irregular behavior using an array of radio frequency sensors and emitters. The upside to Wallabot is that it doesn't contain a camera, so concerns of privacy are significantly reduced while still maintaining functionality. The Wallabot retails for about $150 US, and it's available for purchase now. So what's my pick for the best smart home product for CES 2019? I am super excited for a Wi-Fi smart alarm clock called the Sandman Doppler. This alarm clock has Amazon Alexa, a great set of speakers, Bluetooth, a fully configurable RGB 7-segment display with status indicator lights, 6 USB charging ports, and 2 customizable scene selection buttons for controlling smart devices. And in their words, there is a fully hackable computer inside. I spoke with the team from Palo Alto Innovation, and they were extremely open to releasing an API to allow for full customizability of the Sandman Doppler. And they're also really excited to work with the open source home automation community. Release price will be around $150, but I'm hopeful that this price will go down as the sales volume increases. I've been using the same alarm clock since 1995, and I've been wary about switching to the tablet-style replacements due to issues with backlighting and screen wake. The Sandman Doppler achieves significant smart functionality without drifting too far from the classic alarm clock feel, and in my opinion, it's the perfect balance between old and new. I really can't wait to get my hands on one. And that's all the good stuff. Stick around if you want to hear about the bad stuff. Number 1, check out this thing. Smart mirrors are really cool, and these ones are tricked out. They've got Android 8.1, LED lighting, and high quality speaker options. So why is it bad? Their smallest available device, which is about the size of a standard medicine cabinet mirror, has a suggested retail price of nearly $5,000, and it was only available through their authorized dealer network, never direct to consumer. Cool product, completely unreasonable price. Another product that I really want to like, but my wallet just can't handle it, is the Axis battery-powered shade automator. It's been out for a while, and it's a great concept. They offer BLE and Zigbee control. But again, my issue is the price. I just can't imagine a world where a small DC motor and a battery could justify the $250 price tag, regardless of any R&D costs. Have you ever seen a Sonoff T1? Ever wanted to pay $199 for one? Now you can. IoT brings in Italian design to the mix, which increases the price of the 3-gang switch over tenfold. I'll pass. And what's my pick for the worst product of CES 2019? My vote goes to this $5,300 smart patio umbrella made by Shadecraft. Their booth was huge, and it was mostly empty every time I walked by it. I'm not sure which venture capital firm dumped all of their money into this product, but they better hope for a massive hotel or restaurant deal, because I'm not sure there's much of a market for a $5,000 patio umbrella that won't fit into a standard table mount and requires internet connectivity to open and close. I guess I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I'd also like to give a shout out to the guys at Marsor for loaning me one of their 3-axis cell phone gimbals to get some good shots at CES. Their gimbal was every bit as good as the DJI Osmo Mini, but it only costs 89 bucks. Check out their products over at marsor.com. A big thanks to all of my patrons over at Patreon for your continued support of my channel. It really means a lot to me. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button so this video will be included in the recommended page for other people who haven't found the channel yet. I release a new video every Wednesday morning, so if you want to see more smart home content, please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching The Hookup.